Hi, I'm Virginie, and this is Better Minds. This podcast is a gentle space for honest conversations about mental health, creativity, and the music that shapes us. Whether you're healing, learning, or simply looking for comfort, I am so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for joining me for this brand new episode. This is the second episode of season 2, and I got to talk to the amazing Stacey Kelleher. We talked about touring, making country music, being a woman in the music industry, mental health, and more. By the way, I was still a bit sick during this episode, so I was struggling a little. Please be gentle with me. Thank you so much for being here. How's your
Yay.
day?
It's pretty good. This is like my first like chill day in like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how long because I play music full time here. And so I had like a show every single day for like the last week. And so today is my first day where I don't have one. So it's nice to just like chill and relax.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And by the way, you were on tour this year. I didn't get to see you. I'm
I
sorry.
know. That's okay. I know. I was on tour. It was really cool. I had never left the US, so it was really cool to see the world and play music, and
That's so
hopefully I'll get to do it
crazy.
again.
I hope
I
so
know.
too. I was so
Yeah, it was
happy for
really.
you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was really fun. It's kind of wild to think back on that I was gone that long and like that I got to go to all those places and stuff.
I think you did 2 tours.
Yeah, we did the Loreen tour
Yeah.
that I was playing with an artist called Casey McQuillan. She was opening
Mhm.
for her, and that was the first one. And now we were opening for Anastasia, which was also really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy. I
Mhm.
have 2 questions about this tour because I'm curious.
Yeah.
What were the biggest challenges you had to face during this tour?
Yeah, probably I would say the biggest thing was so my dog, I rescued a dog back in 2020 during the pandemic, and she had been diagnosed with lymphoma last year.
I remember that.
And yeah, and so it ended up relapsing. And the day that I was flying to London, I found out that she had 3 months to live and that I was going to be gone for 3 months. And so that was literally like 4 hours before I had to go to the airport.
Oh my God.
And so I basically had to say goodbye and like just hope that she would end up living long enough that I would see her again. And she ended up passing while I was gone, but I was very lucky. I have a family here that in Nashville that I'm very close to, and they took her in while I was gone and took care of her. And she had a really fun, happy last 3 months, but that was really hard. And that's something that I'm definitely still like grieving and processing. And I think
Mm.
I will be for a really long time. So that was definitely the biggest thing. And then I think leading up to it, it was hard to officially make the decision to go because I knew I was also going to be away from Nashville for so long. And I was playing for Casey and I love her and I love her music and she's such a good friend. But also, I had to kind of put my music to the side and
Mm.
be like, okay, I'm really not going to be able to focus on the Stacey Kelleher project
Yeah.
till I come back. And so it was hard to put shows and writing and everything and just like leaving Nashville, which is now my home, for so long.
Mm.
But in hindsight, I'm really glad I did. So yeah, I'd say those are the two biggest things.
Yeah. And what lessons have you learned from this experience?
I think to like always, obviously, when it's feasible, to take opportunities that come your way. Because at first, when I got offered this spot on the tour, I was like, oh no, like I can't do that. Like I can't leave my dog. Like I can't leave Nashville. Like I need to be here or whatever. And I'm so grateful for all my friends and my family because they were like, what if you just like went and like had your friends help you take care of your dog? Like Nashville's going to be here. So I feel like learning to take opportunities and all the like logistical things can be figured out. And there's always an answer for that.
Mm.
Um, and I think also, I knew this already, but even more so, like kind of prioritizing your needs and your mental health and not being afraid to speak up when you need something. Like there were times where I really needed, because when you're on tour, like you're never alone. Even when the show is over, there's always people around and it's fun. But like when you're out on the road for that long, for 3 months, it's like sometimes I would have to be like, hey, can I have my own hotel room tonight? Like I just need space. Or like I would just go on like a little solo adventure, like on an off day. Or like I would stay in some nights, even when it can be hard when you're in like Stockholm or Paris or London and everybody's going out and stuff. And like, obviously, yeah, you want to see where you are, but you also do have to like take care of yourself and you can't be like out every night going crazy, you know? So just like listening to your needs and not feeling bad about it, you know?
Yeah.
Which is
Honestly,
easier said than done.
I would hate it.
The going out.
Yeah. Well, I hate going out. So going on tour and going out after the show, damn. That,
Yeah. Like
yeah.
it's so fun sometimes, and sometimes that is the vibe. And sometimes you just have to be like, hey guys, like I'm so sorry, but I need to go. So,
Yeah.
but it's
So
hard.
it's okay to say no.
Exactly. Yeah.
And but let's talk about your musical journey.
Yeah.
So the first time we did an interview together was in 2021
It was that long ago.
for your song You Never Know with Me.
Yes. Wow. That was like my first release, I think, since having moved to Nashville with like my new sound, I feel like.
Crazy.
That is really crazy.
I've seen your growth.
Yeah. I know you've really been there since like the beginning, and I really appreciate it.
Doing my best, but yeah, I just love, love, love every new song. It's getting better and better. I told you this already, and
Oh, thank you.
so good.
Thank you. I know
Uh,
it's crazy to think that was that long ago.
I know, right?
It's insane.
How did your sound evolve over the years?
Yeah, it really still is. Like when I first moved to Nashville, I was kind of doing more of like a dark pop sort of a sound, which I had kind of started doing while I was in college back in Boston at Berkeley. And then COVID happened, and I kind of had time to really think about what I wanted my music to sound like. And I just didn't know. I felt like I wasn't really connecting to that kind of dark pop sound that I was doing. And man, that was like 5, 6 years ago at this point. But that was when I kind of started working on the era of that project, which was called Songs So Far, that You Never Know with Me was on, which was much more indie pop, singer songwriter, like Lennon, Stella, Maggie Rogers vibe.
Hmm.
And that's kind of like what I was on with my sound for a few years, probably really until this year, because I sat down with my producer who's been working on all of my recent music, Justin Nelson. He's amazing. He's one of my really good friends. And he kind of sat down with me and he was like, why aren't you calling what you're doing country? Like, why are you not distributing your music as country with like the genre that it shows. And I genuinely was like, I don't know. Like, I have no idea because it really is. It's definitely, like your not traditional country, but it has like the pedal steel guitar and it has the storytelling aspect of country music. And so that's kind of been the sound that I've been chasing with the last couple songs that I put out, Playing House, He's Not God. I have another song coming out next week, which is going to be my last new song. Yay! It's going to be my last new original song of the year. But yeah, so now I'm kind of starting to exist in the country space, which is really cool.
That's my favorite.
Country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. But yeah, I do love country.
The storytelling is just like the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did your songwriting evolve then?
Yeah. I feel like, well, obviously there's so many insanely talented songwriters in Nashville, like the best songwriters in the world are here. And everybody just comes here for that. Like even tourists that come to visit for the songs and the stories. And so I've had the privilege to work with so many insane writers because all of my songs are co-writes. I don't really write alone. And none of my songs that I've released are solo writes. And so I feel like the longer I've been here for 6 years now. And I just keep meeting more and more and more talented writers that I get to write my songs and tell my stories with. And so I feel like little pieces of them have just kind of like rubbed off on me. And also just being here and listening to music that comes out that's written here. It's all just like so inspiring, especially like even hearing pop artists or whoever who don't even live here, but they come here to write. Like the one that comes to my mind is Sabrina Carpenter. Like she doesn't live here. She's huge. And she has said she's written so many of her big songs here. So I feel like just not only working with such talented people, but just knowing that that's where I am. And also just like my life experiences and things that I've gone through kind of all put together have just kind of like every little bit of it is kind of, I feel like, stuck with me and started to make me more honest and more daring with my lyrics, I think, sometimes. And so, yeah.
Wow. And where did you
Crazy.
draw your inspiration for your songs?
Yeah. I'd say most of my songs are based on things that I've been through. I do love collecting little song ideas. Like I'm always trying to think of, especially now that I'm officially country, I'm always trying to think of like little clever like titles or hook lines for songs and stuff like that. So I try to think of those and then relate them to like things that I'm going through. And also a lot of the times my co-writers will have really, really cool ideas. Like the song that I'm about to release next week was based off of something that one of my co-writers said. We were kind of like just chatting before we started writing. So yeah, I would say it's overall based on, life experiences, dating experiences, things I've gone through, but definitely like ideas that I'm like randomly thought of or things that co-writers might mention definitely like play a huge part as well. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Do you write every day?
Some weeks, like I'll just look at my calendar and I'll be like, oh wow, I have a write every single day. um, which is great. Those weeks are really fun and it's cool to kind of like test yourself that way, but most of the time I don't. And I'm actually trying to become a little more conscious of that when I'm scheduling because the way it works here in Nashville is you usually are booked a couple months out just because people do write all the time. And a lot of people that are primarily just songwriters that don't have artist projects do write every day. And so sometimes it can be easy to like accidentally schedule yourself one every day. And then you look at your calendar for the next month and you're like, oh, wow, I'm going to be writing every day. But I would say most weeks, I try to be aware of it. Most weeks, I would say probably like 3 times a week I'm writing. And I usually write in the mornings because I normally have either shows or networking things or other events at nighttime or in the evenings. So I usually try to write in the mornings.
Damn, you're a busy girl.
I know. I'm like, what is going on? I'm so grateful. But sometimes I'm like, how am I like not coming down with a cold like every other week? Oh my gosh. I'm grateful to be busy though. I love what I do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I hope you do take breaks.
Yes. Today has been a much needed chill day and I'm basking in it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
How do you turn difficult experiences into creative expression?
Mm-hmm. It can be hard sometimes, especially because going off of what I was saying earlier, like a lot of the times I'm meeting new writers for the first time when we get together to write, because maybe it's been set up by like a publisher, or maybe I know one person and not the other, or something like that. And so sometimes you're going in a room with people you don't know and you're like, okay, so here is my breakup that just happened. Here are the details. Can we write about this? And so it definitely takes like some vulnerability. And for me, and I'm sure a lot of other artists feel this way, um, I really like my songs to be mostly authentic in detail to what I've been through. And I know sometimes it's important to not let that get in the way of the song. But so that being said, when I am trying to get that creative vision across, um, kind of not being afraid to speak up if something that maybe someone else suggests doesn't feel accurate to the story or maybe doesn't feel like the correct emotion. And that can be hard, especially if you just met the person and you're like, no, that's not what really happened. But you can't really say it like that. So it definitely takes some vulnerability. But some of my favorite songs that I've written and released have been with people I just met. And I had to, kind of like bare my soul to strangers. But then sometimes that helps, I feel like, in the end, because they don't know you. And so it's almost like they're just getting information from a new source and it can really help create a great song. So I guess just like not being afraid to like really get down into the details and express what you're feeling, even if it means like you get emotional. Like if you cry, like that's okay. Like sometimes if you're frustrated about something, that can come back up. And so I think just being really true to all those emotions in the room to
Yeah.
get those things that you've gone through across accurately, for me at least.
Is it like therapy?
Yes, it really is. It is. And that's what's so amazing and like powerful about it. Because when I am going through anything, I kind of feel a bit like, I guess, like it's kind of like taking up space inside of like my mind and like my chest almost until I write. And then once I write about it, even if it's hard to get through it and go through the emotions again, every single time afterwards, it's like that release of like after therapy where you're like, I feel that weight is gone and like I feel that like space is like opened up again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely like therapy. I do also go to therapy, like actual therapy. But Yes, definitely.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is really beautiful.
Music is a healing tool. I love it.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So, do you feel your music has a responsibility to your audience, especially regarding mental health or personal storytelling?
Totally. And I do always kind of feel that it's the songs that like I'm not expecting people to relate to that are the ones where I will get a message about it, or at like a show, someone will come up to me and say like, hey, like when that song came out, like I just resonated so much with it because I went through something similar or whatever it may be. And so, yeah, I feel like even the songs where I'm like, ugh, like nobody's going to relate to this, those are the ones that people will say they felt heard and seen. So, yeah, totally. Cause I know how much I used to and still do like seek solace in music because you just want to feel like you're not alone when you're listening. That's what it's for. Like you want to feel like seen and heard in music. And so, yeah, I do feel that like responsibility. Like I want people to know that like it's okay to feel a certain way. It's okay to not be okay every day. And I always try to make sure with like certain lyrics in my songs that they're getting that message across in like a kind way, I guess.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah. Everybody needs it. It's
Yeah.
so important.
Every day I need new music and new lyrics that speak to me,
Mm-hmm.
depending on my mood.
Yep.
This morning I needed Christian music,
Yep. Totally.
and that felt good.
Yeah. And it's so nice to know that like when you want that specific feeling or that specific message, that it's out there in music, no matter what the genre is or what the style sounds
Exactly.
like. Yeah. It's
Yep,
very special.
it is special. I have an important question.
Okay. I'm scared.
What advice would you give to emerging artists about managing the business side of music?
Oh, that's such an important question. I feel like you can never you can never know too much. And this is something that I still actively try to learn more because also the industry is changing so quickly. And so it's really important to have even just the most basic grasp of like music industry jargon and situations you may find yourself in, like splits in songwriting, copyrights, ownership of masters, publishing, all those things. And there's so many really helpful resources like books and podcasts. Like Ari Herstand has a book, I think it's called How to Make It in the New Music Business. And he's released a couple of updated versions of it. And he also has a podcast. And you can easily access it or listen to certain parts that you may need. And so it's just so important to have that information, especially now where there's so many different DSPs. Everyone's independent now, I feel like most artists are independent. And it's just better to know a little bit too much and have that knowledge than not to know and then end up essentially getting screwed over. So I feel like also having a lawyer that you can ask questions, or even like if you know like an artist manager or somebody that works at some sort of music business company that you can even just be like, hey, would you look over this split sheet for me? Or hey, would you mind reading over this contract? Is like so important.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to learn something, even if something's not like incorrect in whatever it is you may be looking over, you're still going to learn something by asking them questions, you know? So I feel like having even the most basic understanding is so important.
Yep. Which leads to my next questions. Are there lessons you learned the hard way about contracts, collaborations, and promotion?
Definitely. Yeah. Luckily, I am always like very, very wary of contracts when I look at them. Um, and I also do feel like most things in Nashville are pretty, like, I think the most common thing that to be aware of is splits on songwriting with co-writers. And generally, there's kind of an unspoken rule in Nashville that it's just even, which is great. But I have gotten in a situation like that with production with someone who I wanted to produce a song, and without getting into too much detail, I had asked if they would be willing to give me co-production credits before we started producing the song. Thankfully, I asked that, and they kind of like said no, indirectly said no. And I actually went on to produce that song myself with a little bit of help from others. But I'm so glad that I hadn't just like signed a contract about that or just started working on the song, because then it would have been done and I would have had to pay for it. And then it would have been like, okay, like here's the production credits. And I would have had to be like, where's my name? So yeah, asking all the right questions and crossing all your T's and dotting your I's and having lawyers or a professional that you trust look over anything in writing, and even looking over just like text messages or like sitting in on a meeting or a phone call that you may be having. So important. Because if I had not asked that question, I would have done work and not been credited for it, which
Yeah.
would have not been cute.
So yeah, do your homework and ask questions
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and stand up for yourself.
Yes. Which can be so hard, but like you have to. Because if you don't, no one else is going to.
Yep. Is it harder as a woman?
Totally.
Yep.
Totally. Especially, I love Nashville. I've been here for 6 years. I'm going to be here for a long time. I know that. It's my favorite place that I've lived in to do music. But it can be really hard. And I feel like the craziest part is a lot of the times people don't even know when they might be being a little sexist or saying something that makes me feel like I'm supposed to feel like inferior or quote dumb or stupid or whatever. And so, yeah, or if you're just like in a room full of dudes, and like I love all the guys in my life. I have some insanely talented producers, co-writers, band members, friends. But like sometimes it can still be scary when you're in a room full of dudes and you're like, I don't feel comfortable with the key we're singing this in, or I don't know if we should sing this song or whatever. But yeah, there's so many situations where you have to like be confident and then like multiply that by like 10. So
Do you have any advice for women out there?
I feel like don't be afraid to speak up for yourself, obviously. But also sometimes what I do, and it sucks that it has to be this way, but sometimes I'll just kind of be like, I'll like phrase something as a question. So instead of maybe I'm working with someone producing a demo for me and I really don't like something that they like did to my voice. Instead of being like, I don't like that, because that unfortunately could be perceived like I'm being a diva, even if I'm not. So sometimes I will phrase things in a question and I'll be like, what if we tried this instead? And then we do it. It's like, oh, yeah, like that's really cool. Because then I'm not putting myself in a position of seeming like I'm a diva, which obviously I'm never being a diva. All of your feelings are valid. And if you don't like something, you should be able to just say, I'm not a huge fan of that. But phrasing something as a question, like, what if we tried this? Or I was wondering what this would sound like. And oftentimes fan potential flames of a fire that could be there if things are said in a different way. And I kind of take that approach with everything, honestly, because I just always want to seem kind, even if I'm talking to another woman. But I think don't be afraid to speak your mind. But if you're afraid to say, like, I don't like this or that's not what I want, there are plenty of ways that you can say it a little less directly if that makes you feel more comfortable. But also, if you feel comfortable saying, that's not me, I don't like that, then also go for it. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Yep.
But yeah, that's kind of my approach, especially if I'm writing with someone for the first time and maybe they are very successful and I just don't want to potentially say anything that may be misinterpreted. Again, which sucks that it has to be that way.
Yep.
But speaking up for yourself in whatever way makes you feel comfortable, I guess is what my advice would be.
Thank you.
Of course. It's important.
It is important. Can we talk about mental health?
Yes, always.
How do you maintain your mental health while working in such a demanding industry?
Yeah, it's really hard. It is really hard. Especially, and I know you know this too, like where we just have to be on social media so much. And we wear so many hats to do things. And most of those involve being on your phone and posting.
Yep.
But I go to therapy every week. I've been doing that for like 5.5 years now, I think. I've been seeing my same therapist. And that just always, even on the days where maybe like I feel good and like I feel like I don't have anything to talk about, I feel like those are the days where I'm like, wow, thank God I had therapy today. Because some random thing will come up and I'll be like, wow, I can't believe I was holding that in. So I go to therapy every week. I try to prioritize my physical fitness as much as I can. Obviously, I'm on stage a lot and that is very physical. So I don't work out every single day because shows in and of themselves are workouts, especially when sometimes I have to bring my own sound system and I have to set it all up and it's really heavy. And then I have to sing, and then I have to break it all down afterwards. So prioritizing my physical fitness, but also like listening to my body when I'm too tired to work out. And I try to drink as much water as I can. I could do better. I'm trying. I try to eat decently well. And I also, something that I've been doing for a few years now is instead of scrolling before bed, I plug my phone in like across the room because also I am a frequent alarm snoozer. So my phone has to be across the room or I'll turn it off and wake up late because, yeah, that's my crate. But I will plug my phone in across the room and I will read before bed instead. And that changed my sleep game. Like, I feel like scrolling before bed until I fell asleep, not good sleep, reading and naturally falling asleep, sleep like a rock every night. So that's a big one. And I feel like almost like getting out of my own head before I go to sleep. I don't know, kind of helps because it kind of put my world aside so I can get into someone else's world while I'm reading. And then I can kind of go to sleep and fully like unplug, I guess.
Yeah. I do scroll a lot before bed, especially on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. It's like me too. And sometimes I still will, and I will have to like check myself and be like, okay, we've scrolled enough. Let's go plug our phone in and let's read our little book instead.
And sometimes I get so tired and I'm still scrolling. I'm like, what am I doing?
It's so easy to do that. I fall into it all the time. But I try to, once I realize I'm doing it, do my plug in my phone, read thing. And it really helps. So yeah,
Yep.
like those are my things.
Those are your things.
Those are my things. Yep.
Have you faced challenges with anxiety, pressure, or burnout in your career?
Yeah, totally. I have always been like a very like depressive person. Like I'm diagnosed anxiety and depression.
Oh,
And I take
really?
medicine for it. Yeah. I take medicine for it, which definitely really helps. Um, and burnout, yeah. Like especially where I play shows for a living, which I love doing. Like I love it so much. It's so fun not to just like play music, but to like connect with people that are like strangers over music. But when you're performing all the time, then you're writing, and then you're in the studio, and then you're at a show. And also, a lot of that goes hand in hand with drinking too, which isn't a bad thing. But I mean, you can definitely be drinking a lot here in Nashville, Tennessee. um, that can definitely all lead to feelings of burnout. And I feel like when that happens, I have to give myself as much of a break as I'm able, whether that's like a day like today where I am able to just kind of relax and chill more, or if it means maybe I need to say no to a couple of shows. Um, or even sometimes like I am on Zoloft and I think this was a few years ago now, but I really felt like it wasn't working and I needed my dosage upped. And so definitely all three of those things I struggle with fairly regularly. And I feel like having to learn how to recognize them and know what I'm able to do is key. Because obviously, sometimes if I'm really tired and I have a show, like I'm still going to do it. But then it's like, okay, can we just go home afterwards and can we go to sleep instead of hanging out with friends and drinking more or like staying out late or something like that? So, yeah, definitely anxiety, depression, burnout, all familiar. words to me. But I feel like the one good thing about it is I feel like pretty much everyone can relate to that in this industry, which I guess isn't good, but it's good that there are others that can help and come together and like know what you're going through. And in turn, you can kind of do the same for them.
Yeah. So many of us struggle with that anxiety or depression.
Yes.
I think it's getting worse. I don't know why. Or maybe we talk more about it now and we just didn't know
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
It is good that it's much more of an open conversation now. Um, but yeah, I feel like I don't even know anyone that doesn't have anxiety or feelings of depression or man, the burnout thing. That's like, I'm like, do I know anyone who's not burnt out? Like, because we're all, especially here, like in Nashville, I feel like there's a Nashville burnout, which is you just you can write every day, you can play shows every day, you can go out to shows every day, you can hang out with friends every day, you can go to a bar and see cool music every day, which is awesome. But it's like I feel like everybody burns out once or twice or three times maybe or more before they're like, all right, how do I learn how to balance this?
Yep. That is tough.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that we have all of this stuff, but also it's like, how do we how do we do this in moderation, you know?
Yep. You gotta find the right balance, just like
Mm-hmm.
everything. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So, how do you deal with moments of self doubt?
I I like to I like to be vocal about it. I like to talk to my therapist, but also like my friends, because I feel like if I let it fester and I hold on to it alone too long, it's just like I end up drowning in it. You know what I mean? So being vocal about it and talking to people always helps. And I also feel like if I'm having self doubt about music or something that's career related, I'm like, maybe it's time for me to take a break, like for the day or for the night or whatever. Like, and maybe I need to just go like hang out with my friends, see a movie, read a book. Like, I feel like more often than not, taking a break and stepping back can really help me because then I can gain perspective on whatever it is that I'm feeling.
Yeah, we really have to speak up every time we feel any kind of emotion. That's what I learned lately.
Yeah. Cause it's like the more it just bounces around in your brain, especially
It can
for
get dark.
someone, yeah, exactly. Like, especially for someone with anxiety or depression or any sort of mental health struggle, it can just spiral. Yeah. And it can get really dark. And so it's like being vocal about it. Also, it's like then you're not alone in it.
Exactly. One of my
Yeah.
best friends told me like 2 days ago that he was suffering from depression. And I'm only learning that. I've known him for like 20 years.
Mm.
But he's finally talking.
Wow.
So that's a good thing, I guess.
And that's so beautiful that he told you because obviously he really like trusts you too.
Yep. But yeah, and I told him about my anxiety. So now I think the friendship is going to be more profound.
Yeah. It's like you have that whole deeper level of understanding of each other and like connection.
Yeah. But that's crazy. So everybody's struggling with something. And the older you get, the more you realize that.
So true.
What biggest lessons have you learned this year?
This year, I have learned that my my gut and my instincts are always right. And when you have a feeling, you should listen to it the first time that you feel it. And I think I knew that already, but obviously every situation that you're in, every relationship you have, every song that you write, every person you work with, every single situation is different. But your intuition and your gut, whatever you want to call it, is always right. And so I feel like I've learned to listen to that the second that it happens. And I will be taking that into 2026 with me. And I've also learned that this is a huge learning I guess point for me. So I've learned that I'm very happy alone, like by myself. Like in many senses of the word, like whether it's I think the biggest one is being single and not being in a relationship, but also even like going shopping alone, going to concerts alone, going to movies alone, literally whatever alone. Like, I feel like in the past, I looked at it as almost like, oh, well, like I won't have to be doing X alone forever. But there's just such a beauty in like being in your own company and not needing someone else for a situation or a holiday or an event to feel complete.
Exactly.
And like, but I feel like I genuinely believe that now. It's not like I'm just like, oh yeah, like I'm happy. Like, yeah. It's like, no, like I am happy alone. And last thing going off of that is I feel like the love that we search for can be our community of our friends and our family and the animals that we have or that we know. Like that is love as much as a relationship could be love.
Wow. That was so beautiful.
Thanks. I really genuinely like feel that though. Like it's not like I'm trying to make myself believe it and I'm just saying it. Like I truly, truly, truly believe it.
Yeah. I do stuff alone all the time. And I think that when you do stuff alone is where you find true happiness and true understanding of life and everything. It's powerful when you can just be by yourself.
Mm-hmm. It is. You can have experiences like truly for you and no one else.
Yeah. You know what? I travel alone. I go to the restaurant alone. I go to shows alone.
Yep.
And some people are like, what are you doing?
And it's like
It's boring.
it's like, oh, you don't know. You don't know yet how amazing it can be to be by yourself. Like it's so fun and beautiful, like you said.
At first, it can get weird when you go to the restaurant alone. You're
Sure.
like, for two? No, just me.
Yeah. Yeah. There is there is definitely like, especially when you're doing something for the first time, like a sense of like an uncomfortable feeling
Yep.
to it. And that's normal. But like the more that you do stuff alone, the more like comfortable it will feel, and it won't feel as like scary or daunting.
I love it now.
Me too. It's the best.
It is the best. I'm going to Paris by myself on Friday.
Fun. How far are you from Paris?
2 hours by train.
Okay. It's not too bad. That's going to be so fun.
It is. And then I'm going to a show, but I'm going to with a friend this time. I'm going to see Lawrence. Can't wait.
Oh, nice. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Last question.
Okay.
What can we expect to hear in 2026?
Yeah. So I'm working on tons of new music right now. And I'm still writing a lot of music, finishing up a couple of songs that are going to be coming out right at the beginning of the year. And probably another project. I've just been doing singles the last couple of years, which has been really fun. But I think it's time for another project.
Yeah.
Whether it's an EP or
more
something a little longer. Yeah. But just tons of new music. I'm always playing shows. Hopefully we'll be touring some more. If I do, probably won't be till at least the middle of the year, because in a way it does kind of feel like I just got back still, even though I've been back since May. But definitely enjoying my time here right now, but hopefully some touring, definitely some local Nashville shows. Yeah, just lots and lots and lots of new music.
exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait. And obviously you'll be the first to hear it.
I hope so. Cannot wait.
Absolutely.
Can't
Yeah. So fun.
Thank you so much for listening. Stacey is such a wonderful person and artist, and it was amazing to talk to her in person. I hope you know you're not alone in this crazy music industry. I cannot wait to hear more music from Stacey, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you're an artist looking for support or guidance, I offer services to help you grow your music journey. You can learn more on my website, bettermusicofficial.com, and connect with me on social media at Better Music Official. See you in 2 weeks, and as always, take care of your mind.